ವೈಡಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಬಾ.
ವೈರ್ ಇದೆಯಾ?
ವೈರ್ ಬೇಡ,
ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿ
ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿ ವೈರಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ?
ಹಾಂ.
ಸರಿ, ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಹಂಗೆ ಲೈಟಾಗಿ ವೈರ್ ಜೊತೆ ಎಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂತೀರಾ? ಎಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂತೀರಾ ಹಿಂಗೆ?
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದು 2 ನಿಮಿಷ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. 1-2 ಮಾತ್ರ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಹಿಡಿಯೋಣ.
ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿ ಹಾಕ್ಕೊಂಡು
ಅದೇ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಒಂದು 5 ಹಿಡಿದ್ರು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಹಿಡಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಈಗ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಸೆಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಶೇಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇದೊಂದು ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ಲ? ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವ್ದಾರು ಹಿಡಿಬೇಕಾ? ಇದು ಮಾತ್ರ
हमको मन की शक्ति देना, मन विजय करे, दूसरों की
here to play today. I was asked to do this workshop on guitars, processors, amplifiers, how to use them, what you can do. So I think can you hear me? Can everyone hear me? Yeah, you can hear me. All right. Okay, so I'd like to do this as a sort of question and answer thing. You can ask me what you want about what you want to know about guitars, processors, amplifiers, how to use them, what to buy, what to do. I don't know. It's up to you. And if I know what I'm talking about, I will try and let you know what's happening. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, please. Play what? I don't want questions like that, please. Go ahead. Anything. What do you want to know?
Hammer on. Hammer on.
What music system? Okay. We're talking about PA. I don't think I'm a qualified sound engineer, so I'm more a guitarist and I know a little bit about sound, but I wouldn't want to give any advice on PA. What guitar is this? Okay, this is an Indian-made Tansen guitar. It's made. What a perceptive lad! Can you cut the delay on this thing? I'm not, Yeah, check. That's a lot better. Thank you. Sounded like I was very far away. This is an Indian-made Tansen guitar. It's made in Chennai. Tansen makes guitars. The guitars are outsourced from Tansen to the US for companies like Jackson. And if you look at the build quality, the finish, and everything else, it's just about as good as anything you can get abroad. The only changes I've made to this guitar are the 3 pickups. I've put in Seymour Duncans. Seymour Duncan pickups are well known abroad. 3 pickups actually cost me more than the whole guitar. The guitar costs about 7,000 odd, and each pickup is nearly 3,000. So the pickups were expensive, yes. For processing, I use a Boss GT5, and this amp is a Marshall. It's not my amp, it's just what's lying here. It's an MG Series 250 DFX. That's the gear.
Just play something.
Okay.
Play a little bit, we can ask you some more questions.
Play a little bit. What do I play? I didn't come here prepared to play anything.
Can't hear. Bruce, can't hear you, man.
What?
Can't hear you.
Can't hear me.
Can't hear you, man. Yeah.
Better? You can hear me now.
That's it. That's it.
Someone asked us. What? What? I'm not supposed to be playing. Yes, anyway. Someone asked for Sunset Man, so why not? Should I stop there?
No.
Hey, didn't really want to do this whole playing thing. I'm here to do
You have
something
all
different.
These, gadgets there in front of you which we don't know anything about.
Okay.
Maybe you could use some of these things and
All right.
tell us what it's
Fine.
about.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
Right.
something like
I just
that.
wanted someone to tell me what's happening. Right.
You've got it in front of you, just give it to us.
Sure.
And maybe we'll ask you something if you don't understand it.
What?
Harmonics?
Harmonics. What is a harmonic? Okay. Used amplifiers themselves to try and produce effects, try and alter the sound of the electric guitar. Jimi Hendrix probably took experimentation in terms of using an amp to give him distortion or overdrive and feedback to an extreme. He used amps in unique and very innovative ways, and his particular area of experimentation resulted in the development of several, effects processors and what they call stomp boxes to try and change the sound of a guitar. Now, without this processor here, the guitar sound would simply be something like this. This is just guitar going straight through with nothing added to the amplifier. Okay. Now, with this amplifier itself, you can change the sound of what your guitar sounds like. And this is something I found that a lot of guitarists and a lot of beginners have little trouble trying to get the best sound out of what they have. Most guitars will have, most decent guitars will have a pickup selector switch, and most decent amps will have some basic equalization. Okay, and this particular one I think has an overdrive channel, which is basically a little bit of distortion, right? And just with the combination of your guitar and the amplifier, you can have quite a variety of sounds if you just play around with all the controls here and everything over there before we get into anything about processing, right? So if you look at this particular guitar, it has 3 pickups, and you have this pickup selector switch. Most of you know what a pickup selector switch is? No? Okay, right. You have 3 magnetic pickups here, and this pickup selector switch allows you to select between the 3 in combinations. At this particular position, it's just this pickup. Here, it's this and this. Here, it's the middle one. Here, this and this, and here, the neck pickup. Okay. If you ever played an acoustic guitar, if you strum closer to the bridge, this is the bridge, you'll find that you have more high frequencies, more treble. Right? You play here, you get more low frequencies. Okay, and the pickup selector switch works in very similar ways. If you use this particular pickup selection, you get a very bright sound. It's more bright. You come up, it mellows down a bit. Here, still mellow, with a little bit of an edge because this pickup is in between. Starts getting thicker and rounder. At this position, the neck pickup is the fattest sound. You often hear guitarists using terms like this: warm sound, fat sound, round sound. I mean, what it really does mean is something you'll figure out for yourself as you keep playing. You'll know that some sounds are rounder than others, some sounds are fatter than others, some sounds are warmer than others. You'll find guitarists also telling you that some amps sound warmer, some amps sound fuller, and I think it's just something that a guitarist will come up with after playing for any number of years using equipment. And it's not really something that you can say that is a warm sound. It's just a feeling. That's all. And you could say that this is a warm, round sound, and I hope it makes sense to you. Now this would be a sort of jazz sound if you're trying to play a jazz guitar lick or something. It would sound good if you use this particular pickup. For most rock and blues playing, guitarists prefer to use the bridge pickup, treble pickup, because you get a nice cutting sound, and you can when you're playing in the context of a band, you'll find that this pickup helps you cut through the rest of the musicians, because you're having a bass guitar, you have a drummer, you have a singer, you probably have another guitarist. So if you want your sound to cut through, you'll need an edge to it. You'll need a certain amount of high frequency that'll have to chop through the rest of the frequencies in the mix. So that's about how you can use your guitar and your amp. Now the amplifier has, this one at least has some basic settings in what they call the clean channel. The clean channel is basically without overdrive, without distortion, just plain guitar through amp with 3 levels of equalization. You have bass, mid and treble. Just one step ahead of your standard hi-fi amp where you have just bass and treble. You have bass, mid and treble. You can just twiddle them and see what changes happen. Now this is my treble pickup. That's what it sounds like. This is with no bass at all. This amp doesn't seem to be giving much of a difference, but anyway. Okay, I've cut bass, mid and treble. Okay, slightly muddy, not enough definition. Bass is up to full. Mid is up to full. Now treble is up to full. Okay, now this amp is now cooking a little bit. It sounds nice. You can use this to try and cut through the mix if you're playing in a band. It's actually going to the point where it's almost overdriving. You're getting a little bit of distortion when you're playing loud. Okay, so you can use just your controls there, your controls here. Now in this setting, if I change pickup selection again, you'll find that you get a whole new different set of sounds. Nice sound. It's got a nice bite. Nice warm sound for a slightly more jazzy kind of song. Okay, so you can use just guitar and amp to give you a whole lot of different sounds based on what kind of EQ settings you use, how you use your pickup selector switch, and the next thing is of course how you use your volume control right here, and tone controls. Tone controls on the guitar usually just cut off all treble frequencies. So to tell you how that works. Needs a bit of cleaning, there's some dust in there. You can hear the crackle right here. So you can even use these to change your sound we're still not anywhere near processing, it's just guitar and amp. Okay? It's usually a good idea to try and experiment as much as possible with just these two things before you get into processing at all. Before you get into what all your different things you have here, we'll get into that slowly, but anyway. So try and experiment as much as possible with just your guitar and your amplifier. Whatever you have, it doesn't matter, you can get a fair amount of sounds. Yes? Several thousand times around it. Well, I think you know how a pickup works, so I don't have to go into that because it's a fairly long thing. Anyway, so a single coil pickup often has problems with what they call hum. Now, even this guitar right now, if I bring it close to this amp, you'll hear a goom kind of noise. Okay, that's because this pickup is interacting with the electrical flows in the amp, and what happens then is you have this interference, okay, which you call a hum or a noise. Now, with a hum pickup, what happens is the coil that's wound around the magnet is wound differently because you have two magnets. You can have two bar magnets next to each other, and the coil is wound in a figure 8. Okay. So what's really happening is when it's picking up interference, the interference is picked up in two separate ways by two halves of the coil, positive and negative, and they cancel each other out. Okay, so you don't have interference out of a humbucker pickup, and you'll find that a humbucker pickup is much quieter than a single coil pickup. Humbucker pickups also, because of their construction, will have a thicker sound, not so bright and jangly as a single coil. There's if you really think about it, there's an added dimension to this. If you have a figure 8 coil, and that's specifically to cut off the interference from your amplifier or from other electrical gadgets, why doesn't the sound also get cut off? It makes sense, right? Both should die out completely. That problem is solved very simply actually. if you have two bar magnets side by side and you have one magnet with its pole pieces facing one way, you flip the other one. Okay? So since the two magnets are flipped in terms of their polarity, the interference is cancelled out, but the sound is actually doubled. It adds up because it's flowing. It's inverted and double inverted, right? Is that logic all right, or is it too specious right now? Okay. Anyway, just take it as true. That's how it works. Right. Anything else about single coils humbuckers? Is that all right? Choose what? Okay, that depends on what kind of style you're playing. If you like playing country, if you like playing just plain old rock, you can use this kind of guitar, which is basically modeled around what they call a Fender Stratocaster. Okay, this has 3 single coil pickups and has a very specific sound. It's much brighter, much more jangly than a humbucker, a guitar fitted with a humbucker pickup. But you'll find that a lot of modern rock guitarists tend to use combinations. Most Ibanez guitars will have humbucker, single coil humbucker. So you try and have the best of both worlds. You have bright sounds as well as thick sounds. Humbuckers tend to sound better with high gain distortion. When you have very heavy distortion happening, they tend to sound thicker and fuller with that. So most hard rock, heavy metal guitarists tend to prefer humbuckers than single coils. But you'll find that it's not really a rule. I think even Kirk Hammett used to use Stratocaster throughout. I think he had single coils, not humbuckers. So it's just a matter of personal choice at some level. Anything else about single coils humbuckers? Yeah?
What's that down stuff?
This, yeah, we'll get to that. Before that, anything else about guitar and amp? Anything else that anyone wants to know?
What's the difference between hum and feedback?
Hum and feedback. Okay, hum, like I told you, when you have a single coil, okay, and you close to your amp, it picks up interference, electrical interference, and you have this hum. Okay, now
How do I convert an acoustic guitar into electric?
hang on, I'm just answering what is the difference between hum and feedback. Okay, now what happens in feedback? When you're using a guitar with high gain overdrive, and if it's at a certain volume, okay, and you're close to your amp, what happens is a kind of sound loop. The sound that's coming out of the amplifier, okay, is the same frequency as a vibrating string. Okay, so the string simply picks up the vibration from there and resonates in what they call sympathetic resonation. Okay, so what's happening is the string continues to vibrate, and because of the overdrive also the sustain is increased, right? So you have this loop happening. The string is vibrating, it's picking up vibration from the speaker, which is of the same frequency. Okay, you'll find that feedback often you can't play with 2 or 3 notes together because you have more than one frequency and they'll interfere. You can do it with one note. You hold one note with very high gain distortion, go close to your amp, and you'll find that it keeps going on. It sustains forever almost if you're able to stand the right positions. Okay. And with feedback, there's also the question of what they call harmonics. If you've ever experimented with feedback, this might be confusing for non-guitarists, but if you've ever experimented with feedback, you'll find that even with one note, as you move around in a specific pattern around the amp, you'll find that the note actually changes. That's because what's happening is the string, the property of a vibrating string, is physics, is that apart from the fundamental note, which is this, the fundamental note is an E here. But then also harmonics. Harmonics are basically, I don't know exactly how do you say a harmonic is explained physically. Is it
Half and quarter.
yeah, it's a subdivision of the fundamental, right? So yeah, multiples of the fundamental. So those notes are also there, but you can't hear them very well because the fundamental is the strongest note. And when you move around in front of an amp, depending on what combination of processing an amp you're using, you'll find that these harmonics sometimes get picked up, and the note will morph into its harmonic, not its fundamental, right? Yeah, he was saying something about converting an acoustic into electric. Somebody there? Acoustic into electric. Yeah, you want to convert an acoustic guitar into an electric guitar. First, you need what is called a pickup, right? And a pickup, if you have a magnetic pickup, then you won't be able to use acoustic bronze strings because bronze is not a magnetic material, right? So a magnetic pickup is limited in that sense. So you'll have to use electric guitar strings on your acoustic. Magnetic pickups you can mount directly on your acoustic, but usually messing around with an acoustic soundboard, drilling holes through it, sticking things on it is not a good idea, especially if you have a high-priced or a good acoustic. Even experienced luthiers will hesitate before they start hacking around with an acoustic. So an option is to have what is called a contact transducer. A transducer is simply any device that converts one form of energy into another, right? A pickup is a magnetic transducer. A contact transducer simply converts actual physical vibration, because it's in contact with the guitar's soundboard, into electrical signals. That's all. There's some cheap ones available in the Indian market. You get this pickup called a hotspot for about $400, I think, and you can stick it under your bridge, take the wire out to the back, and you can plug it in. So that's one way to convert an acoustic into an electric. It's not really an electric guitar, what they call it. It's called an acoustic electric guitar. It's not really an electric guitar. Yes, anything else about that?
Bruce, I've got one point on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just for the information of these guys. Now, this 12 string is electrified that way.
Yeah.
There's a pickup inside. It was done by Lewis.
Okay.
I'm a fan of this.
Okay.
I find the sound is good. But what he did was, to do it, he had to use a small boy's hand to go inside there.
Okay.
Right? He's one of the most innovative guitar makers. From 62 onwards, I've known him.
Okay.
I don't know whether his kids will carry on the same kind of a thing. But that's how he did it.
Okay. Speaking of Lewis, my first electric guitar was a
And he
Lewis.
strengthened it also inside, otherwise it cracks.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's how he-
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's like my friend modified a Hills guitar with the same cheap pickups in the store.
Okay.
What he did was he tested Velcro's one side on the edges
Okay.
of the pickup and then used the fabric
Okay.
and tested it and then just makes it still keep it over there and then
Okay.
and then remove it off.
Okay. The thing with Velcro is it's not really if you're having a Velcro stuck on the soundboard and another piece of Velcro stuck on the pickup, it's actually the Velcro that's more in contact with the soundboard than the actual pickup. So you might find that the output is low. You'll need the pickup to be actually in contact with the soundboard. Okay. If you have anything in between, you might lose signal. So that's a problem with that.
But then with our experimentation, the results were more than satisfactory. What we expected.
Great. Fine. Right. Anything else? Yeah. Processor. Right. Okay. So before we had guitar processors, you've probably seen what they call stomp boxes or single units. You'd have a single unit for distortion, you'll have a single unit for chorus, you'll have a single unit for reverb, you'll have a single unit for delay. Do I need to explain what distortion is, what chorus is? Okay, fine, everybody knows that. Cool. So the problem with a whole bunch of single units, okay, there are several problems. One, using them in combination is difficult, because if you have, say, 6 different units, you'll be tap dancing on stage more than playing your guitar. If you want to have distortion on, chorus off, reverb on, delay off, it doesn't work. It's very difficult to use units like that. So that's one problem. And the way units work, they're more analog in the sense they have knobs, and you have to turn them to the effect parameters you require and use them based on that, right? So you can't really stoop down in between playing a song or singing and twiddle with your knobs there. It looks stupid and it doesn't work, right? So another problem with that was power, because you needed to have 6 separate units all powered separately, because either you need an adapter with 6 outlets or batteries, and if your batteries die out differently, then basically it's a huge headache, right? So what was finally developed was what they call an integrated effects processor. Since everything was moving digital anyway, you can actually synthesize all the sounds produced by analog effects digitally. And if you can put all of them together into one big box with a whole bunch of buttons and everything, and make it programmable, what you can then do is choose the effects you want, set the parameters you want on each effect, and store them together as what they call a patch. Okay? So you can choose the effects, set parameters, put them together in any order you like. Some processors will give you that flexibility, and store it as a patch. So if you want to, if I had, for example, if I had stomp boxes and I wanted to go from overdrive to clean, what I'd have to do, and my overdrive right here has just distortion, some reverb, okay? It's just distortion and reverb. So if I had stomp boxes and have my distortion pedal on and my reverb pedal on, now I want to go from that to a clean tone where I have no distortion, so I have to switch distortion off. I need reverb, I also need chorus, I need some delay, I need maybe a little bit of compression, okay? So if I had single units, that's basically impossible. I'd have to do something like that before I could shift a patch. Okay, but with this right now, what I have done is just that's distortion patch, that's the clean patch. Okay, so I've got compression, a little bit of preamp, some chorus, some reverb, okay, and I've even assigned this pedal to do something in this particular patch. So you can see how a processor can really simplify things for you. You won't have to do this whole tap dancing routine, as well as you can actually choose the effects you want, set the parameters, store them all together as a patch, and simply shift from one to the other. And advanced processors like this is fairly advanced. There are things much bigger than this, much more complicated. You'll have to do a small course at NIIT before you can figure out how to use them. This is not like that. This is fairly simple. So this offers you a tremendous amount of flexibility in that region. Anything else about processors? You want me to go into the whole thing, what this can do? Yeah? Okay? Yes?
There are some people who play, I mean, they don't use...
If you want to transmit the information from your guitar to your processor, okay, and from the processor to the amp, it doesn't matter. You just have to use a transmitter and a receiver. That's all. The best ones are, as I said, UHF, ultra high frequency. Okay, you'll find that they have the least loss across distance. VHF and LHF will lose. You may not be able to stand 20 feet away and play your guitar without being plugged in. Okay. The problem with cables is that with most guitars with what they call passive pickups, you can seldom have more than 7 or 8 meters of cabling. If you have more than that, even a very good cable, you'll find that you're losing a little bit of losing some information. You're losing some gain, losing some volume. So UHF can help you fight that. But for some reason, I've found that most guitarists, like if you watch a Steve Vai show or a Satriani show, most of them are still plugged in hardwired. Some people say it's still better if you have a hardwire, because there's absolutely no chance of your receiver picking up Radio City 91 FM. It won't happen, but generally, you never know. Yeah. So yes, it's still better to hardwire than I think so. But if you like running around and jumping off stage when you're playing guitar, well, get yourself a UHF. It's expensive. I think a guitar UHF unit manufactured by Shure will set you back by around 25 or 30,000 bucks. Anything else? Please play something. What? I don't want to get into guitar techniques. It's more because then we can go on and on about that. Yes. Using a double bar. What is that? Two necks. Oh, all right. Okay. A double neck guitar is usually divided in this way, since you have a 12 string on top and a 6 string at the bottom. There are other variations, but the typical one is this: 12 string and 6 string. A 12 string guitar is very, very like a 6 string in the sense that the tuning and everything is just the same, but each string is doubled. You have 2 strings very close together. Okay, so when you play, you don't really play each string separately, but you're hitting them all together. And when you do that, you find that the sound is a lot bigger and fuller, and it sounds like more than one guitarist is playing. The second set of strings are a little thinner because they're tuned slightly differently. In the sense, the first 2 strings are tuned to exactly the same thing, and from the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, the strings are thinner and tuned 1 octave higher. So you find that it sounds like 2 guitars are playing, one guitar is playing higher than the other. It's a nice effect. So a double neck electric usually has that. You have a 12 string on top and a 6 string at the bottom. Jimmy Page, I think, popularized this with that song Stairway to Heaven, I think, or whichever song he was playing. They hit the Led Zeppelin fans are here, they should be able to tell me which one. Yeah. So you can switch from playing 12 string plucking patterns to a wailing guitar lead or whatever, depending on what's happening. I think we're running